days and welcome to this week's Extreme Set Mind series with amazing Lee Tunnyware in his clean, crisp, ironed white shirt.
Yeah.
He's looking very funky today after getting over what has been a virusy weekend, but nothing breaks this man's back, that's for sure. But he has broken backs in his time. Don't mess with him. Lee Tunnyware, he's not someone and trust me, in the business world, you type in Lee Tunnyware and it generally has with caution alongside it. Because it's such a, but here's we are this week. I have this subject here, which is there such thing as a competitor in business? Now, I know, because here's the thing. Is there? Because if you have competitors, then are you running your business, where you are competing, or you run it with your own value? I mean, I don't see I have competitors, but am I being unrealistic with that also?
Or egotistic, yeah. It's a very good question.
Egotistical, yes.
It's a very good question. Ideally, the answer is no, you don't have competitors in business. You might have people competing for the same market, but if your USP is correct, your unique selling power or superpower is you should know exactly what problem or pain you're solving and how to message it. And normally majority, and you can see it because it's quite transparent and people think it's an assumption, is you can see into the market, you can see the marketing message, you can see their value offering. And normally what a lot of people do when they start out is they look at what the competition's doing, they look at what the competition's pricing, and they look at their messaging, and and then they mimic it in some ways, or they try to make it better. So that's a bit like, say, having apple pie, and you might add 2 or 3 extra cloves to it when you're cooking it, So when you go, well, it's a bit more like, what do you think of my unique recipe? Well, it's not unique. Well, it's got 3 more cloves in it, so it's got more of a clovey, but it's still got a clove taste to it. It's not unique. It's just more clovey or less clovey. And a lot of people think that that's the part that makes them unique because they added a little bit more of the recipe that somebody else hasn't. Where that isn't, and you can understand why people draw that conclusion. Their price point, they haven't looked at their metrics to determine their price. So they're competing into the market because they haven't got the right value proposition. Some stack perceived value with good messaging, but on the back end don't have the value. So it's a lot of hot air, salesmanship or influencer stuff, And bear in mind, to be an influencer, whether that's an influencer of a product or an influencer social media, you can't be different for the sake of difference. I'll give you a good example of that. A friend of mine's son, Dylan, lovely guy, worked for us a few years back, and he had these holes in his ears with like these big ring earrings. I had no problem with it. And I was working with him one day, and I said, Dylan, do you mind me asking what that's all about? I said, and bear in mind, I'm not disrespecting, just looking to understand. I said, because I wouldn't know how to do that, wouldn't even think of doing it. I said, I wouldn't feel comfortable about doing it for me. So I said, so I'm just trying to understand it. Look, like, obviously it means something to you. I just don't know how to make it make sense to me. He said, I want to be different. He said, and this is my way of expressing myself. I said, all right. I said, so are you being unique to you, or are you being unique so others see you as unique to them?
Oh, wow.
So he said, how do you mean? I said, are you standing out for the sake of standing out? And he done exactly that. Oh, wow. Another example of that, Tom, when he was 16, I think, 15, said to me, Dad, and it took him a while. He'd already mentioned it to Mum, so I already knew about 3 months before the question was coming, and then he got the courage. But he kept asking Mum, and Mum said, ask your dad, told you, ask your dad. And the question was, can I get my ear pierced? And I said, yeah, of course you can. He said, really? I said, yeah, when you get your belly button pierced. He said, why would I get my belly button pierced? I said, well, that's the exact same question I've got for you. Why would you get your ear pierced? I said, I've got no problem with it. I just want to know why you want to get your ear pierced. I said, if you can tell me why you want to get your ear pierced, I said, and it makes sense to me, and I think it's like a benefit to you, then my answer will be yes. I said, but my default organic answer is no. So tell me why you want to get your ear pierced. He said, because all my mates have got it done. I said, that's the wrong answer, mate. So I said, the answer's no. I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. On your 18th birthday, I said, I'll take you in. I said, and I'll pay for you to get your ear pierced. On his 18th, he had the hump with me. He didn't talk to me for a few days. And on his 18th birthday, on the morning off, I said to him, Tom, do you want me to take you in and get your ear pierced? Well, why do I want to get my ear pierced? I said, well, you did when you were 15. He said, I don't want to get my ear pierced. I said, are you sure? He said, yeah. I said, why would I want to get my ear pierced? I said, well, if you remember, I asked you that when you were 15. When people do something unique, genuine, sincere, and authentic, it means it's unique, genuine, sincere, and authentic. Mm-hmm. But what some people do in that genuine, unique, and sincere and authentic, it's a bit like designing their bathroom or their bedroom. Yeah, they're living in their own place and they go, yeah, I'd like this type of shower. I'd like these tiles that go really together. I like these squares all round. I've got to put a yellow ceiling in my bathroom. And they love it. They love it. It's a bit like when you get fish and chips and some have it with tartar sauce, mushy peas, salt and vinegar, pepper, really stack it up, and some don't. Unique to you, like that yellow ceiling in the bathroom is unique to you. Somebody else might walk in and go, yeah, I can't use that bathroom, it makes me feel sick. Unique to the market isn't unique to you.
Wow.
It's been out, but when it's unique to the market, the uniqueness isn't for standout showmanship, yeah? It's uniqueness where they intrinsically, authentically know that's exactly what I'm looking for. Wow. Without tasting it, touching it, smelling it. So that when we're in that space, there ain't no competition.
I mean, how many do you think? No, let me start that again. I mean, I'm going to say there's a huge percentage of businesses that actually put themselves in a competitive market because of copycat business.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. Yeah, like in a sense, Xerox type businesses, we used to call it in the 80s, Xerox, just a photocopy of photocopy. And so it's a bit like having apple pie, and somebody comes to the market with unique products, yeah, and then others see it and then they copy it, and all that's happening is the pie gets chunked down, and then before you know it, basically everybody's trying to compete for the same market. So when you're unique, yeah, I think it was FedEx, yeah, delivered anywhere, yeah, within 24 hours. I forget what it was, yeah. They had a very unique value proposition. Most times before they come on, it would take 4 or 5 days before those type of businesses come on. It would be registered post or recorded delivery. And that would be one, that the product was, say, safe and somebody would sign for it at the other end so you knew it was delivered. But that could take up to a week, maybe longer. With FedEx done it in a more secure way and done it in 24 hours anywhere in the world, where, it could take 7 days just to send a letter or a recorded delivery, a registered letter from, say, Brighton in the UK to Edinburgh. Yeah. Because it was more that it hadn't been signed for, and then they'd have to go. That person then would have to come and pick it up. But with FedEx, it gets signed for on delivery. Wow. So the point is, when that's a very unique value proposition, makes you stand out in the market in the way. Oh, really? You can do it within 24 hours? Yeah. Yeah. You need to get onto that company that does it in 24 hours. We can't wait a week. We need to get this deal over the line. So the value proposition, 24 hours, is the pain that the customer needs solved. Yeah. It's not coming out all glitzy and standing out like some ringmaster, yeah? A bit like circuses used to do it really well. They'd go through the town with the elephants and the jugglers and the bearded lady, let's say, and the clowns and the clown car, and everybody would see them to capture their imagination. Yeah. And then you go to the circus because they create a buzz in the town. What a lot of people fail to do, I think, they come to a market and they've got these big ideas. They want to be an international brand, okay? Failing to realise that the brand, that to be an international brand, you need the ecosystem and the cultural system of that stratosphere in the pain point. The message in the UK might be the same in Italy, might be the same in the US. Cultural things change. The politics are different in the UK to America. And then which state do you go into? So let's say at the minute you've got the November elections coming up in the US. So if you're pushing with a very conservative product, yeah, and it's more for a conservative market, then you wouldn't go into a democratic state.
Wow.
You wouldn't market it, and then you've got to find the heart of that state, the heart of where it's the most conservative, because you've got very direct, real message, yeah, that solves a real world problem. And I'm only showing it in the politics. I'm not talking about politics. I'm showing it. So that's where branding comes in. Are you pulling for old school values, historical values, core business values, or are you going in with the glitz and the
wow.
Trying to think of the political correct word. Are you going in with the Disney and Pixar type business model? Yeah, that's all hot air, but no guts behind it. Because some people get it wrong. I think they think marketing. Not all people get it wrong, but some get it wrong, and they think marketing or a big brand. Where a big brand sometimes. If you look at Armani, just type into Armani. Armani has somewhere between 500 to 600 distribution places or shops or outlets in the world. They're an international brand, but they only have somewhere between 500 and 600 outlets. Those 500 or 600 outlets are going to be where their target market either frequently go through. Yeah. You won't find an Armani store beside McDonald's.
Wow. So true.
And so when we look at the market, we're actually looking at very small areas in certain towns or cities, really, where the population of our target market, regardless of what level, low end, mid or high, is where they frequently locate, because that's going to be your ecosystem. Then you need to be right in the center of that. But what a lot of people do is they go, my target market's women 35. 35, this is a unique pain point, and then they throw it out, let's say, on social media ads. When it's out on social media ads, it's anybody and everybody. They haven't got it down to a problem or to what are they thinking? What's the words they use? How do they feel when they wake up in the morning? Yeah. If they're a conservative or a Republican, why are they a conservative or Republican? What's their history behind that? What's their core values? Are they a conservative or a Republican because they've been ancestrally bequeathed into that? Yeah. Wow. Or are they were they once, is there a Democrat or a Labour, yeah, and they come from old school, let's say they come from Bradford or Leeds, and they've got that miner's grit, and then they've transcended to a conservative. So they might be a traitor in their own camp. They might feel like that by their own family. So when we call into that inner workings of the human, that's a target market. When we know that that's what they feel and this is what they're against, this is what they stand for, but when it comes down to pens, yeah, our pen writes upside down. Why? Why was that problem there? Because it was a universal problem, because you'd have to keep going like this with a pen, where people don't remember that. In our day, you remember that. Or you get like a match and you light the end of it to get the ink flowing, yeah, and they come out with a paper mate or Parker pen it was, and they run the thing, yeah, this is such a precision thing, it writes upside down. Yeah. What they showed was, what they were actually saying, you ain't got to do none of this. Yeah.
I remember all that,
Yeah, to get it working. And then you get it working so well, you put it in your pocket, you go home and you have this big ink stain. Because they were the common problems that people were having. A paper mate, I can't remember which paper mate or Parker pen come out with the pen that wrote upside down. The ballpoint pen. That it moved, it was so precision that it wouldn't let the ink leak out, but as the ball moved as you wrote, it would turn the ink out. And it's so taken for granted nowadays, but that was a good value proposition, and that made, I can't remember which company. Now, I'll give you one last bit. The bloke that trained Gordon Ramsay, Marcus something, who was his name, do you remember?
No, man.
He's a chef, a top chef, and he trained Gordon Ramsay in Michelin stars. Yeah, Marcus or something like that. Then there's a video on TikTok or on YouTube where he was saying he woke up one morning and he just wasn't feeling the vibe. He'd basically been treading water in the hamster wheel. And this bloke, I can't remember his name. I like watching Gordon Ramsay because I think he's very real. But the bloke who trained him, Marcus something like that. Marco, I think his name is. He had multiple different stars and restaurants and everything. And he said to his wife, I don't know what to do. He said, I don't know whether I send all my Michelin stars back. He said, I don't know whether to, because he was the one preparing all the food. He had the stars. He said, or to pretend I'm in the kitchen cooking, or to do something different. Because he was wore out ticking boxes. He said, I'm being held to account by people that are nowhere as near as good as me. Yeah?
Yeah.
So he was stretching himself out, ticking their boxes to get a Michelin star, so the Michelin star would be seen as the seal of quality and value, so other people would travel. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right. And he got to a point where he bought into the system, got on the hamster wheel, even though he was like one of the top in the industry, ticked all the boxes to get the Michelin star, so the Michelin star would say he was real, he was authentic, yeah, and he was quality, but he wasn't unique. He was following the Michelin star system. He wasn't unique. He was just another one in the Michelin star ecosystem. Now, let's go one step further. The Michelin star restaurant and hotel guide was two brothers wanted to sell more tyres. That's marketing.
Wow.
An ecosystem for two guys, the Michelin guys, the Michelin tyres, worked out that they were who their target market was, and for them to use more tyres, they had to travel further. For them to use more tyres, how do we get them to travel? We give them a reason to travel. We bring out the Michelin Star Guide. That's why it's the Michelin Star Guide. Yeah. So they travel to different locations, normally out of the way, from different parts of the country. Yeah. So they get this person in this postcode to travel to this postcode in their car, use their tyres, country places, whatever. So they travel. Now we're like, I don't know, 80, 100 years on, the ecosystem it's the Michelin Star Guide. No, it's a marketing campaign to sell tyres.
Wow.
That's unique. If you take it one step further, 4 and 5 star hotels or 3-star hotels, the AA ones, same premise. AA wanted more breakdown, you get it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's marketing. When marketing becomes the norm. Santa, red and white. Why? Coca-Cola colours. Why? Because Coca-Cola wanted to sell more Coke in the winter because all they done, they were a thirst quencher. That's how they marketed.
Oh.
Then they realised to get more of the market share, they needed to sell Coke, yeah, in the winter. So then Santa at those times was like an elf-like figure of 2 or 3 foot tall, could be fat, could be slim, brown and sort of greeny sort of clothing, and then they gave, yeah. And I think in history, what was his name? Santa Claus was a bit of a thief. They iconicized him, if that's a word, and made him like this honourable, yeah, guy, yeah, persona, so they could sell more Coke.
Wow.
Yeah, and if we take it last bit, birthday cards, Christmas cards, Valentine's Day cards, yeah, and all the like. You go back, say, 150, 200 years. I mean, for instance, where did the birthday cards and Christmas cards and all those cards come from before the printing press was developed in 1497? Yeah, you really think poor people that struggled, bear in mind the life we live in now is because of entrepreneurs building businesses and a business ecosystem, so there's loads of jobs. Before that, there was workhouses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think the Social Security Act came in about 1937. That solved a lot of the workhouse. And then it became more of an ecosystem. In the 60s, 80% of people didn't own a home. Maggie Thatcher changed that, good marketing in the 80s, yeah, and gave them mortgage tax relief, yeah, because people that didn't own a home could migrate through the country and weren't locked down, which meant they didn't pay tax. Why? Why was that necessary? Because business couldn't grow. So to get businesses to grow, they needed the population to anchor down.
Mm-hmm.
How did they get to anchor down? They needed to get a mortgage. Once they got the mortgage, they enticed them in with the mortgage release fund, mortgage release taxation, and made it like normal. Now 80% of the people own the home, or at least are working towards it. They made it an intrinsic goal where before the 60s, 80% of people never, ever had a goal of owning their own home.
Wow.
But now it's one of the success principles people drive for or strive for in Ireland and the UK, and they think that that's their unique choice.
Wow.
That's good marketing.
Wow. So effectively, there is no such thing as competition unless you stop thinking.
Well, organically, yes. What I mean by organically, if you're thinking within the parameters and rules that they give you, not honour and integrity and value and principles, those rules are steady in stone. Yeah, they stand 1,000 years. Nothing moves. Your uniqueness, the way you message, the problem you solve. Yeah, if you really care about your client, that's the piece you solve. Because if you solve that, you ain't got no competition. You might have to be clever with your messaging. Clever with your messaging doesn't mean a good tagline. Yeah. It means being able to call to your market. So if you, and I'll leave it with this. I was in Liffey Valley Shopping Centre, walking through the shopping centre with, I think it was Phoebe, Jake, Josh, Isaac, 4 kids. And this is about 2 weeks before Christmas. Ros was going around the shops and that, and we were walking through the shopping centre, and the Sam Maguire Cup was up on this big stand. The Sam Maguire Cup over here is a big thing, isn't it? Yeah. And they had some of the top sports people there, and that we walked by, and that caught the kids' attention. Yeah. And they're standing there, the kids are in front of you, and I don't know whether anyone knows what it's like to go out in a busy shopping centre with 4 kids. You got hold of the smaller kids' hands, and then the next one's like got hold of them. And before you let go of the kids' hands, you look at the other one to make sure one of you is going to hold them if there's other people coming at you. Anyway, before you know it, we've lost Isaac. Yeah. And it was seconds and couldn't see him. Now, at the time, there was like, I don't know, kids like, I don't know what the word is. There was on the news and different things like that. There was kids being taken and different things like that. There'd been a bit of 6 or 8 months of that like kids have been either taken or been trying to be enticed into cars. So now we're right in the shopping centre, yeah, and Isaac has vanished. And he was only about, I don't know, he's 19, 20 now, so he was about 5 or 6 at the time. Yeah. You can't see him, so many people. How do you get a message out that quick? How do you know in your head, you know that where I am is about 150 yards to the exit that way and that way. So if he's lost or been taken, if he's been lost, I can find him. If he's been taken, somebody else could have grabbed his hand and been walking him out the store. And at the same time, I've got to not panic. So I asked, yeah, I stopped the whole shopping centre. I spoke up. I said, if you can hear me, say shh. Seriously, there's a little boy been missing. If you can hear me, say shush. And around we stopped. I said, now pass that message on. Just ask them, if you can hear me, say shh. There's a little boy missing. Please stay still, stay quiet. And I was able, through the shopping centre, and I stopped both ways because I never knew, and I was able to pick somebody 50 foot from me, and I was going to chat with the hat on, around you, everybody, as far as where that chap is with the hat on. Yeah, can you see a little boy who's wearing this? And if you can't, can you pass it, pick out somebody else and work it back? Within 3 minutes, I had my son.
Wow.
But I stopped the whole shopping centre, and I had every pair, I mean stopped the whole shop. There wasn't a movement in the shop.
Wow.
Because I had to convey a message very quick to get the attention of the people that could, whose eyes I could use. How do I use somebody else's eyes 100 foot from me, 200 foot from me? How can I use their voice? Yeah. And because it was a priority and I communicated effectively and I communicated with authority, I got my son quick. Now, there was no problem. He wasn't being taken. When we go to market, we have to call to the people that need us.
Oh, my God.
Not who we need.
Yeah.
If we call what we need, I need Paul to buy this, I need Paul. No, forget you. Call to the people that need you. What's their pain? What's their thought? What's keeping them awake at night? What's destroying their relationships? What's destroying their relationships at home or in business? What's affecting their income? Yeah, all of those problems, everybody wants a solution to. All you have to do, the problem is the charlatans that are like everybody else, tell them they can do it. And the distrust for you is because everybody else is just like everybody else.
Lee, this has been one of the most powerful conversations I've had this year. And we have had some really massive ones. This was huge. Thank you very much, my friend. I will catch you this time next week. And bye for now, and boom!
Boom! See you soon.